Okay, Aaron, over to
Mm,
you. What have
yeah.
we actually sorted out at this stage? Have we sorted anything out?
Well, we think we have. Anyway, what do we think we've actually sorted out now compared to 10 years ago? I want one item from each of you that you think you're actually on top of, starting with you, Mikey.
God. Question. Good question.
Friendships.
Right.
I think I've spent kind of went through our days there where we were all just busy doing what we were doing. But I think as we turned into our 40s and towards our 50s, I think we started to, well, first of myself, I think I started to invest a bit more time into the friendships that I have.
Well, the kids were smaller too back then. You know, it's all kind of joined, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not with you guys, with these other guys I know.
The other podcast.
The other podcast that I'm part of, yeah. But yeah, I think I've actually become better at making that effort to respond to people. Although you wouldn't have said that this week, I suppose, when I was only replying to some WhatsApp messages this morning. But I think I definitely, from our 20s and 30s, I feel that I value my friendships more, and definitely make that effort.
Good one.
To keep them going.
Good stuff. So, Niall, what would you be throwing out there, Niall?
Yeah, so I think with a couple of exceptions, I think I've made progress in the last 10 years. And now I suspect I was well behind 10 years ago, so that has to be taken into account. But I suppose it kind of ties into what Mike has said. So I'm going to say relationships generally. That's not to say that there's plenty of scope for improvement in terms of various different types of relationships. But I would say in terms of the important relationships in my life, I've improved in how I deal with them pretty much across the board. So partner, kids, friends, family, etc., etc.
Very good. That's a very important one. Shawnee, what do you think you're actually on top of now compared to 10, 20 years ago when you were a young fella? Size here, deep size.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably maybe friendships or kind of saying no. I'm much better saying no about stuff than I was 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, I think we're all drifting in that direction, yeah.
And from a kind of friendship perspective, I was always quite bad I always felt quite guilty for not keeping in touch with people where I had it. But then I
think you've been hard on yourself, Shawnee. I would actually put you down as someone who's really, really good to keep in touch.
Yeah, but I would feel really guilty when I didn't.
Okay, but there's a reality, and
yeah.
So as some of the people that you would have kept in touch with, what I'm saying to you is, just so that you know, I would have considered you really, really good under the circumstances in terms of how you kept in touch. In fact, I would consider you way better than, say, we. So actually, I think if there's anyone needs to feel guilty with respect to that, it's more the other direction, so to speak.
I guess I just kind of set high expectations of myself. That's it. That's fine. I've learned to set more realistic expectations of myself, I think. That's what I've done over the last, managed to get over the last 10 years.
Well, because as the fella says, there's two ends to a telephone. Do you get me? You know?
I was producing the statements, the quotes this time around.
Well, that's true. Like, there's only so much effort you can make. That's just the way it is, isn't it?
True.
And yourself, knowing what matters as well, yeah?
Yeah, well, I think I'm better at recognising nonsense and people that just deny me and they're not worth dealing with. So, yeah. That'd be one of mine, anyway.
You were always good at that, Aaron, to be honest.
I was a pretty professional, yes.
Yeah, that was a relative strength to yours. You've probably refined it over the years.
Well, in a nice way, I'd hope. Like, it wouldn't be. I don't like the ignorance.
No.
You know what I mean?
Agree.
Yeah, so, like, if something just annoys me, I just get up, move on, and just do something else. One of mine, I mean, we could be here forever doing the list of this, but obviously, other stuff, friendship came up. Handling setbacks, work boundaries, knowing what matters, leaving a bad night early. That's actually, that's something now that, we started to do, but it's getting too late or too loud.
Well, the ability to go home at a reasonable hour.
Well, I still struggle with that at times, but anyhow.
I agree, yeah.
Man on my shoulder.
The last time I was I would say yourself and Sean.
Disaster.
There was scope for improvement there, let us say.
Yeah. And I can't see it changing anytime soon. But one, I do
maybe with change in 10 years' time, Aaron.
Maybe. Actually, yeah. So that's the next question. What will we still be saying in 10 years' time?
I suppose, is there anything now that we haven't maybe been able to change or made much progress? And if we were to have this conversation in 10 years' time, we'd hope to be able to add that to the particular list.
Yeah, well, I'll go to the dentist in the next 10 years. Is that okay?
Because again, and I've actually learned a bit. So I'm going to, for me, it's work-life balance. So even since we've started to have these conversations via this podcast, I have made efforts to improve how I operate in that area. I have huge room for improvement, but I think I'm making slow progress. So there you
That's
go.
good. That's
Done.
What about you, Mike?
Yeah. Well, I think knowing what matters is important in every aspect, whether that be saying no, friendships, work, boundaries. Probably need to work on the work boundaries a bit myself. So maybe we should
team up.
Cross-reference there. We should meet up.
Yeah.
And
we all should, yeah.
I'll be in Dublin on Tuesday.
Yeah, I would say in fairness, in terms of knowing what matters, again, I'd have you down as being fairly on the ball, Mike, in terms of that, if I'm being honest about it. You wouldn't be easily fooled in that respect as far as I'd be concerned.
Enough. Don't know do I feel it that way myself, but maybe I'm doing
It's
something
interesting, isn't it? Sometimes how you see yourself versus how other people. Shawnee.
I would say I need to be a bit more like Aaron, knowing when to kind of just stop and move on. I think I'd hope I'd like to be better than that. I'd be curious to see how I would handle setbacks, because I haven't had, thankfully, unfortunately, a whole lot of setbacks in the last 20 years or so. So I would be interested to see in 10 years' time if I've had any setbacks in my face, how I handle them.
Yeah, but you've probably experienced setbacks almost via other people who you'd be close to, who you care a lot
Yeah,
about.
that's
So
true.
In a sense, that's a type of setback, albeit it's not exclusively focused on you, but it impacts you in an approximately big way.
Yeah, for sure. But thankfully, no direct setbacks.
No direct hits.
Yeah, not yet. But hey, the 50s have just started, so
Yeah.
exciting times. Okay.